Hi everyone, it's been a big 12 months. It's that time of year again where we just want to do a quick video to send out just to talk about what's happened over the last 12 months and what we think the future holds. And also just to say thank you for everyone that's been part of the Affinitas journey so far.
Now, we're going to try and make this video without talking about COVID. Okay, it didn't last long, but you're going to hear a lot about COVID throughout this update.
So there's been a lot happening around the world in terms of COVID and what that's meant for people. And I could talk about a lot of topics, but I thought I'd just touch on travel because that's a big part of our lives here in Australia. We're very much a travelling society. Over the last year, we haven't been able to even move interstate to see family and friends. Now we can, which is great. Now moving forward, it looks like international travel is becoming a little bit easier. There's still restrictions when you come back in, but hopefully we'll see that roll out, over the next 6 to 12 months, and we can get back to how life was before COVID.
So let's carry on the theme of talking about COVID, but I want to bring it back to property. Now, it's an asset class that's got a lot of attention over the last 12 months. When we look specifically at Northern New South Wales, Queensland and South Australia, residential property prices have gone through the roof. South Australia averaged around a 13% increase across the state, but we saw certain suburbs with 30 to 40% price rises. Now, I recently spent some time up in the Sunshine Coast, and same story goes there, about 30 to 40% increase in certain suburbs. So what does that mean? It means there's been a huge influx of people moving, especially from Sydney and Melbourne, into those respective states. Now, what does that mean for other asset classes? You would think a little bit of a drop, but it hasn't. Markets have remained strong as well, but we'll touch on that after. So what does it look like for the next 12 months? Well, to me, it's supply and demand. As demand drops off and supply will hopefully drop off, we'll see the prices start to normalise. But what does normalise mean? Our view, about a 10% decrease in property values in those areas again. A really quick touch on as well is commercial property. Still really nervous about office space, but pretty happy with how industrial has done over the last 12 months. Now again, let's fast forward another 12 months, and what are the thoughts there? Well, that demand actually looks like it's going to increase because we're trying to produce more widgets here in Australia, bringing a lot of our production back home. So all in all, property has been really strong and really good. I'd like to now talk about the impact to SMEs, small to medium enterprise. This is the backbone of the Australian economy. Now, if we look backwards at the last 12 months, it's clear that hospitality and tourism were decimated, and you guessed it, on the back of COVID. Now we're seeing a resurgence in both of those industries, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But we lost a lot of restaurants, hotels, cafes, and airlines were hanging on by a thread. Things like backpackers and specific hotels really struggled. But again, now the borders are starting to open both internationally and domestic, we're starting to see them come back to life. But it was a tremendously difficult 12 months for those industries. Now, yes, there were some industries that flourished, but again, the key takeaway for any SME over the last 12 months was to pivot or adapt to the change in economic environment. So what does the next 12 months look like? Well, again, borders are opening at the moment, internationally and domestically, and that gets a flow of tourism and travel starting to happen. The economy's starting to move again. We're starting to see businesses get momentum and move forwards. So we're really hopeful that unless we have any further issues with lockdowns or another strain coming through, we'll start to see the economy hum along and grow. Now, one of the biggest things that's going to drive our economy is interest rates remaining low. Yes, we will see an increase in rates, but they're going to be small. So fingers crossed, businesses, SME, small and large, will continue to grow and flourish over the next 12 months.
All right, we're going to talk about markets for a moment now. Now really, if we look at the last year, markets have just gone from strength to strength. Yes, in every market there's positives and negatives going on. On the negative side, we're seeing a few issues with supply chains around the world, and also the prospect of interest rates increasing. Now on the positive side, following COVID, there's just been this major pent-up demand, so we're seeing a lot of demand for goods and services. Also on the positive side, stimulus from governments, low interest rates being one around the world, but also from governments, just handouts to business and people to get things moving has been a big part of what's driven markets over the last 12 months. Now moving forward, what's going to happen? So some of those risks are still there. Supply chain risks, interest rates potentially going up are still there. More risks that we're probably a bit more wary of now are new variants coming out. So we're seeing, right now we're filming this at the end of November, and there's already talk about this variant coming out of South Africa, which we are having a look at. But on the positives, interest rates are still low. The environment for markets is really good, and the demand post-COVID is really strong. So there are some positives that we're still seeing in the markets moving forward.
So I know last year we said 2020 wasn't really the ideal year. We were looking forward to 2021, but it hasn't quite turned out the way we thought it would. We're looking forward to next year. 2022 is hopeful. Borders being open, it should be more of a positive than a negative. We can see our family, our friends, and hopefully have the kind of Christmas we've been hoping for the last 2 years. So from the team at Affinitas Capital, we want to say thank you for your support over the last 12 months and your ongoing support over the next 12 months. Have a wonderful Christmas and a happy new year.